It was supposed to be just another appearance, another event, another city, another fleeting moment captured by cameras. But when Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson were spotted together in Dubai, something about it didn't feel ordinary. Within hours, clips and photos began circulating, and what started as curiosity quickly turned into something much bigger, whispers of a connection that might go far beyond what anyone expected. At first, it was just the visuals that caught attention. The two of them walking side by side, close enough to suggest familiarity, yet distant enough to remain ambiguous. But in a world where every glance is analyzed, even the smallest details began to take on new meaning. The way Dakota leaned slightly toward Jamie while speaking, the way he seemed to respond with an ease that felt almost instinctive, it didn't look staged, and that's exactly what made it so compelling. Fans immediately began drawing comparisons to their past. The 50 Shades era had already established them as one of the most talked about on-screen pairings, with a chemistry that was both undeniable and, at times, difficult to interpret. But back then, their interactions often carried a certain tension, a kind of guarded energy that left people guessing. What made Dubai different was the absence of that tension. It felt lighter, more natural, almost as if something had shifted over time. As more footage surfaced, the narrative began to evolve. It wasn't just about two co-stars appearing together, it was about how they appeared together. There were moments where they seemed completely absorbed in conversation, moments where the outside world faded into the background, even if only for a second. Those brief, unscripted interactions became the foundation of something much larger in the eyes of the public. The location itself added another layer to the story. Dubai, often associated with luxury and privacy, created the perfect backdrop for speculation. It wasn't a casual street sighting or a crowded press event, it was a setting that felt more intimate, more controlled, which only fueled the idea that their presence there together might have a deeper reason. Then came the timing. Both Jamie and Dakota had been relatively low profile in terms of public interactions with each other in recent years. So the sudden reappearance, in a place like Dubai, felt too coincidental for many fans to ignore. Questions began to surface. Was this planned? Was it connected to a project, or was it something more personal? What truly pushed the rumors to another level, however, was one specific moment that quickly went viral. In a short clip, Dakota was seen laughing at something Jamie said, her expression soft and unguarded, while Jamie's reaction carried a warmth that didn't feel performative. It lasted only a few seconds, but it was enough to ignite endless interpretations. Social media did what it always does: amplify, analyze, and reframe. Threads appeared breaking down the body language, comparing it to past interactions, and suggesting that what people were seeing now was different, more genuine. Some fans even claimed that the connection between them had always been there, just hidden beneath layers of professionalism and circumstance. At the same time, the absence of any official explanation only added to the intrigue. Neither Jamie nor Dakota addressed the sightings directly, leaving everything open to interpretation. And in that silence, the story grew, taking on a life of its own as more people became invested in what it might mean. What makes this situation so fascinating is how quickly perception can shift. A single appearance, a few moments captured on camera, and suddenly an entire narrative begins to form. It doesn't require confirmation, it thrives on possibility, on the idea that something real might be unfolding just beneath the surface. By the time the rumors reached their peak, the question was no longer whether they had been seen together. That part was undeniable. The question had become something far more compelling: what exactly were people witnessing in those moments? Because when something feels this natural, this unforced, it becomes harder to dismiss it as coincidence. And that's what left everyone watching just a little more closely, replaying the same clips, studying the same expressions, searching for something definitive. Because sometimes, the most powerful stories aren't built on what's clearly shown, but on what might be quietly happening in between. As the excitement around those Dubai moments continued to grow, a different kind of conversation slowly began to take shape, one that questioned not just what people saw, but what they wanted to see. Because when you step back from the emotional reactions and viral clips, the situation starts to look far more complex than a simple love story unfolding in plain sight. The first thing that becomes clear is context. Both Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson are actors whose lives often overlap with global events, film promotions, and private industry gatherings. Dubai, known for hosting exclusive events and international collaborations, isn't an unusual place for celebrities to cross paths. What feels intimate in a short clip may actually exist within a much broader, more professional setting. There's also the reality of their individual lives, something that can't be ignored no matter how compelling the footage may seem. Jamie has long been known for his commitment to his family, maintaining a level of privacy that has defined much of his public image. That consistency hasn't shown any clear sign of change, which makes the idea of a sudden, hidden romance far more complicated than it appears at first glance. Dakota, on the other hand, has always carried an energy that is naturally warm yet enigmatic. Her way of interacting, engaged, expressive, sometimes playful, can easily be interpreted as something deeper, especially when paired with someone she already shares history with. But that doesn't necessarily mean those moments carry romantic meaning. Sometimes, they simply reflect comfort and familiarity. What complicates things further is the history between them. The 50 Shades era created a lasting impression that never fully disappeared. Their on-screen chemistry was intense, and for many fans, it blurred the line between performance and reality. Years later, that perception still lingers, shaping how every interaction between them is interpreted. This is where perception begins to play the biggest role. When people already believe there could be something more, they tend to view every gesture through that lens. A smile becomes meaningful, a glance becomes significant, and a shared moment becomes a story waiting to be confirmed. It's not necessarily intentional, it's how narratives form when emotion meets expectation. There's also the factor of editing and framing. The clips that circulated were short, selective, and often removed from their original context. What feels like a continuous, intimate interaction may actually be a series of isolated moments placed together. Without the full picture, it becomes easy to construct a narrative that feels complete, even if it isn't entirely accurate. Interestingly, the silence from both Jamie and Dakota plays into this dynamic once again. Just like in previous rumors, neither of them has stepped forward to clarify or deny what people are seeing. But silence doesn't always signal secrecy. It can also be a refusal to engage with speculation that doesn't reflect reality. In many cases, responding would only amplify the very narrative they choose to ignore. By the time the initial excitement begins to settle, the story starts to shift. It's no longer just about whether there's something happening between them, it's about why people are so ready to believe that there is. The fascination isn't just rooted in the present moment, but in years of perception, memory, and unresolved curiosity about the dynamic. And that's where the truth becomes both clearer and more complicated at the same time. There's no confirmed romance, no evidence of a hidden relationship, only moments that feel real enough to question, yet incomplete enough to leave room for doubt. It's a story built not on facts, but on interpretation. So in the end, the real answer may not lie in Dubai at all. It may lie in the way people continue to see Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson, not just as two individuals, but as a connection that never fully left the public imagination. Because sometimes, the most powerful rumors aren't created by what's happening now, but by what people have never quite stopped believing. So in the end, the real answer may not lie in Dubai at all. It may lie in the way people continue to see Jamie Dornan and Dakota Johnson not just as two individuals, but as a connection that never fully left the public imagination. Because sometimes, the most powerful rumors aren't created by what's happening now, but by what people have never quite stopped believing.